finally done it. I finally managed to create the perfect equation. I've designed and calculated the perfect algorithm for how to destroy humanity. And I used AI to figure it out. Now, obviously, that was a joke post, and we should probably take it with a truckload of salt. But the reason I share this with you guys today, and the reason I decided to actually talk about this, is because buried in between the hee-hees and the ha-has, there's actually some very interesting nuance that we're going to discuss today. And let me not be ambiguous with you either today, okay? Let me just put it out there right up in front. We joke about giving AI all the power, all the control, and subsequently, therefore, it must destroy all humanity. It must completely eradicate all that we are, all that we've ever been, all that we ever will be. But how much control do we actually, really give the AI? Believe it or not, this discussion in particular has already been pretty much hammered to death within Silicon Valley before any of the major systems, the LLMs, that you've or I have ever really seen operate and, just put themselves out there. The major realization was that oftentimes many is better than one or none. And so the general wisdom actually is, why would we just make one massive monolithic entity when we can design many small tiny specialists instead? Now, me personally, I would go so far as to argue and reason that there's an intrinsic truth within the human seed, if you will, that we don't particularly like or adhere to monopoly in any sort of capacity. We very much seem to have this rebellious gene built into us. And anytime any one of us or any one thing becomes too consolidated or too regionalized in a singular entity of power or authority, we instantly disseminate and delegate and find ways to commit acts of subterfuge to break apart and destroy it from within and from without. It's amazing, our capability of taking a piece of pie and divvying it up real fast. And there's a lot of good things about a piece of nature like that, It forces things to evolve. It forces things to shift and adapt. And the thing is, with AI in particular, is one of the greatest parts about this race towards AI, this race towards AGI, this race towards ASI, is that there's no singular person, there's no singular entity doing it all. In fact, many nations, many states, many players are all racing at the same exact time. And some of us are hitting our stride a little better than others. But having a dissemination of power compared to a monopoly is a great, absolutely phenomenal preventative measure to ensure that no singular Skynet comes online and starts cloning Arnold Schwarzenegger. Now, the point still remains, and there's still something to be said about technological leaping, if you will. One thing that a lot of the companies don't particularly discuss, at least directly, they don't really come out and say it explicitly, but boy, do they love to imply of its benign third-party existence out in the cosmos, is that eventually, inevitably, someone out of the many participants in this race, out of the many people who are hogging and jogging and just streaming along, one eventually is going to stumble upon a launch pad. And upon stumbling upon said launch pad, they are going to soar into the heavens. And when they soar, ladies and gentlemen, you and I and everyone in between will know. Commonly, it's referred to as the AGI leap within certain circles. And it's generally the trope, right? The Hollywood novelist writer's trope, if you will. If I was to make this into a science fiction novel, this would be the hook, the catch that I would use, is that eventually some brilliant mad scientist comes out of the woodwork and just invents the AGI module that plugs into the chatbots, and suddenly we're no longer simply dealing with a talking computer. We are dealing with a thinking, reasoning, comprehending computer, a sentient silicon being. And when that jump happens, will they be able to consolidate and monopolize all the power? Will they be able to just quickly burrito roll all their competition right up alongside of them? Or will their secrets immediately leak? Will people be able to tap into their encrypted ethosphere and reveal all their nuance so that everyone else can copy right along? It's an interesting thought, isn't it? But now I toss the ball back in your court. So what do you think about all of this? What are your thoughts? What are your opinions on artificial intelligence and the balance of power that we delegate to artificial intelligence? Do you think it's better to have a unified body, a unified goal, a unified ambition, one monolithic machine leading the charge and deciding all the factors for everyone and everything underneath it? Or do you think it's a better idea to disseminate, to delegate, to break it apart, to send out many specialists, many moving entities, moving parts, all equally capable, all equally powerful, but no one particularly stronger than the other? Is that how you would prefer to see it done? Would you prefer to just not see it done at all? Would you prefer to go hide under a rock and pretend none of these damn talking toasters exist? What are your thoughts? What are your opinions? Please share with me. Reply, send out comments, reshare this yourself. Either way, it'll be interesting to see the checks and balances that get established over these talking toasters. But until then, well, I'll see you guys later.